Check, check. Congrats on being first, D9. I noticed you changed your name recently, so I'm going to refer to you as D9. I noticed you changed your name recently, so I'm going to refer. Alright, just gonna spam the stream link around a bit and then I'll get right into painting. Oh, you want me to use your original name, D9? Okay, gotcha, Dolfo. That probably sounded sarcastic with my monotone voice, but I wasn't being sarcastic. You probably know my voice well enough at this point, though, to figure that out. Okay, I'll just hear some clicking sounds now. Okay, almost done. Oh yeah, I missed one. Good thing I double checked. I missed putting the link in the actual conquest server. That's an important one. So while you're all waiting, you might notice that there's some new wallpapers in the holding screen, and there's also some new music in the background. But I think most of the new music is towards the end of the loop, but I did add about 45 minutes of new music, so you're welcome. Okay, that one looks good. That one posted. And let's see if this other one worked. Yep, and the last one. All right, I think we're good to go. Oh, looks like the chat box is showing up for some reason. Let me fix that real quick here. Also, thanks for coming, Nathaniel and Dolfo. Appreciate it. Knew I could count on you. Okay, chat box should not be visible. There we go. Okay, now you can all see the new layout in its glory. Any patrons would have already seen this. I did a little update vlog yesterday. And yeah, you might notice the chat box is gone. I realized that, you know, the chat box that's built into the YouTube web browser is good enough, and the one in the streaming software was a little buggy for my tastes, and I also wanted to add some credits for the Patreon into the stream somehow, because I don't feel like, or I don't want to activate YouTube memberships. And I just want to give the patrons something else. The difference with the credits on this setup is if you donate to the Patreon once and then leave, you still will be in the credits for the stream, just because it's a slideshow, so I might as well leave your name in the slideshow. I think I saw the new Barbatos. Is it like the red one with the big lobster claws? Or something like that? I haven't watched the new Build Metaverse series, but you know, I've seen some pictures of the kits from it. And yeah, here's the Abomination, by the way. I've done a decent amount of painting off camera, as you can see. I wanted to record like the initial stages of painting as B-roll for the actual conquest video, so I painted it at a, you know, roughly halfway, then saved the rest for the streaming, which I'm doing right now. Yeah, that Barbatos is decently cool, Nathaniel. I don't think I'll get it. Are you gonna get it? Yeah, and as you can also see, a new thing on the stream is there's a Ko-fi logo. So if someone makes a one-time donation through Ko-fi, in case they don't want to do a super chat for some reason, they can, there'll be a notification. I have the window closed right now. Maybe if you ask me later, I can send a test notification so you can see what it looks like. It's not that, like, it looks different from the YouTube super chat notification, but it's not that different. And we still have the latest super chat widget. I kept that in there. That seemed worth keeping. And yeah, I also, with the super chats on the YouTube side, in the YouTube chat donation, it highlights the message in color and it's very prominent. And when you're doing the stream software chat box, it doesn't show that. So that was just another reason to get rid of the chat in the stream. And I also increased the size of the webcam a bit. Oh, and most important update of everything, I added a burp counter, as you can see there. I have some water right now, but I'm gonna grab a can of Conk Zero in a bit, like usual, so we'll definitely be utilizing the new burp counter. Speaking of water. And yeah, like always, let me know if there's any issues with the audio or video. And yeah, we're just gonna get right back into painting this here abomination. A janky model, but I found it increasingly charming. And these big bulbous areas of the head, I think I'm gonna paint them with the shifter paint color just because, you know, they're just big bulbous areas of the head. We might as well make them like really shiny and sparkly with some shifter paint, right? So they need a black base coat for that metallic paint to shine. And also let me know if the camera's focus is like jumping all over the place and making you dizzy, because I can always reposition the camera a bit. And this brush doesn't have the best tip, but I think I can manage for this section of the painting. I'm also going to repaint the face color. Oh, look at that. The first super chat. Thanks for the $10, Dolfo. Appreciate you. Congratulations on usurping TMJ Studios from the latest super chat slot. So there you go. Yeah, I feel like even after adding the Ko-fi widget, I feel like super chats will be the more popular option, which is fine. It wasn't that much effort to add the Ko-fi widget. It's pretty. They have the setup. They make the setup pretty easy. The stream upgrade itself, most of the work it involved was doing like making the new graphics and layout and all that, and the music. I'm glad you appreciate the burp counter. And hello, Tanko Wolf, welcome. The giant mobile armor, I'll have to look that up, Nathaniel. I mean, the last, like, kind of Gundam show that came out in that line, or in that, I don't know, type of Gundam show, had the Barbatorus, and that's a pretty cool kit, so glad we're still getting some new flavors of Barbatos. Just too bad it's not a master grade Barbatos, am I right? And Dolfo, did you notice that your name is showing up under the Gogg hand credits? I don't know if you were probably listening when I was explaining that update to the Patreon. How even if you only donate once, you still get your name in these credits. The only slightly annoying part for me in that is that I just have to remember to actively go and like update the slideshow, and I don't know if I'm gonna do that like after every single new patron I get or after every batch of patrons. I mean, I don't get too many new patrons, so it'll probably only happen often enough that it won't be too much of a pain to just update it every time. Master grade Barbatours. That would have been fun if they, especially if they just used the master grade Barbatos that exists already. You live there. Yeah, fair enough. At least I don't have it in the like highest super chat setting anymore. It's just latest, so if someone donates, you just have to play a game of gentle tug and war, I suppose. Oh, the Master Grade Freedom Gundam. The first one, or the 2.0, or the Master Grade Extreme one? Or is that the Strike Freedom? I feel like I should know this. Maybe my excuse is that I'm in mini painting mode. But you know, still more than happy to talk about Gunpla. I just happened, the last little while has just involved painting a lot of Conquest minis, because you know, if you watch my last video, you know what that's all about. These orbs on the legs are also going to get the shifter paint, hence the black base coat. I think I got all the other ones already off camera. Okay. Hello, John Bear. And also hello, Xerox EXE111. You pre-ordered Necrons. Congrats, have fun. Yeah, I mean, the week's going better now that I'm finally back to streaming. It feels good to be back. So thanks to the 9 of you that have tuned in so far. Very much appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate you, Dolfo. Yeah, now you just have 2 places to flex on the stream overlay. I guess I should probably get into the practice. I mean, I don't know if I'll do it for every message, but I should, now that the chat isn't displayed on the screen, if I'm answering someone's question from chat specifically, I should try and like read it out loud. So if people are like watching full screen and not paying attention to the chat, they can at least have some context. That would probably be useful for them. I think I might paint the face red instead. It's hard to say, because red, like the model I think needs more red overall. But the red in my Spires army has only really been used for like cloth and stuff. But at the same time, I'm painting these diamond parts a turquoise color that's also only really been used as cloth, and the Abomination is just like, kind of stands out on its own, so maybe I can make an exception. I think I'll just do that. We'll at least start with that and see how we feel. I think I can still get away with using this brush. The 2.0, cool. I haven't built the Eclipse Gundam, Nathaniel, but you know I can recommend Master Grade Barbatos. Yeah, the Abomination is from the Spires. Is the first Spires monster. It's from the first generation of Conquest models, so it's a little janky, but it's grown on me a lot, like most of the Spires. A Tanko Wolf, you're trying to make a kit that's supposed to look not nice? Can you be a bit more specific? By not nice, do you mean like are you painting something organic and you want it to look like a decaying zombie or like dead flesh, or are you like making something that's supposed to be really battle damaged? Thank you, XeroxEXE. Oh yeah, Goblin, what paint and supplies are you gonna get? Oh, I see what you mean with that. Yeah, I think Barbatos could kit badge well with the Eclipse and Freedom. Cree 88, I don't know that model. Yeah, the mace is a must, Nathaniel. Yeah, Cree 88. Oh, creepy or demonic. Well, could always go for some good old glowing eyes. And I mean, you could, there's a few different products out there that are good for like painting like wet, gory looking blood effects. I know there, like there's probably an easy one to find would be Games Workshop's Blood for the Blood God. You know, it's a pretty self-explanatory product, but you know, there's lots of other brands that would have similar products out there. And there's probably like cheap DIY ways to use your regular red paints and just mix them with a couple things to get like a gory blood effect. And you know, depending on the color used, it doesn't have to be blood, it could be, you know, some gross ooze or something. If it's on a base, you could paint the base to have like some sort of evil demon summoning circle on it, perhaps. You know, like many bigger models, there might be a couple painting angles that'll be hard to show off on camera, like when I'm painting the insides of the legs and stuff. And when I'm in need of a painting, or when I'm in need of just like a quick little break, you can remind me that I can show off some of the Spires minis I've been painting for the last, basically since the aerial video came out. So over a month ago, or about a month ago. How's that look with the red face? I think that looks decent. Hello, Fatal Swordsman. It goes well now that I'm back to painting. You know, every day is a struggle to not reinstall Baldur's Gate 3. Okay, I'm glad that can work for you, Tanko Wolf. Yeah, Thanya, you might as well finish the Freedom first and just savor that out-of-box build a bit before you get 2 other whole master grades involved. What do y'all think about... Okay, I should say that the gray trim on the chest here is going to continue up to the face. But what do y'all say about the red face? Do you think it should stay red? I think for color balance the red is good, but in terms of the anatomy of the model, I almost want to do the green. Although it does kind of look like a mask instead of like flesh, so I should just stick with the red for now, and I can always change my mind later. And then, yeah, I think all the rest I need to do on this before I move on to doing the shifter paint and then washing the model is, okay, I'm just seeing if I should do more coats of paint here. I think those are good. So we're just gonna add some field blue into the black. I'll turn the palette so you can see the mixing better. I should get another one of these field blues soon. It's running out. 100% achievements in Baldur's Gate. Well, if anyone can do it, it's you, Fatal Swordsman. I mean, I like Baldur's Gate enough. I'm sure one day I'll want to try and... Or I'll be like... striving to get at least a decent amount of achievements. It was pretty satisfying when I got that Devil Commander's sword. Can't remember his name. It's like the achievement you can get from the first bit. Oh no, the paint's spilling over. Let's cover that up. Also, the brushwork's getting more precise for this part. So I'm gonna have to switch to a better brush. I think I need a bit more black now, actually. Just a little bit. You're done with a kit bash you made, John Bear. What was the kit bash? Thanks for the feedback, Tinko Wolf. Opening the real grade full armor unicorn as your third kit was intimidating. Yeah, I can imagine that being decently intimidating. How did the build go though? Did it go alright? Okay, we need a crispier brush. So we'll go with Old Faithful, the extremely haggard Army Painter Regiment brush. It's all taped up. Still kicking though, it's got a good enough point to do a decent amount of painting still. Okay. In terms of the neck here, I think. Okay, we'll start the gray neck armor plates to here. Yeah, I'm using I'm not adding any new colors to the color scheme for painting this abomination. But in terms of like my usual methodology for this color scheme, in terms of like, oh yeah, the cloth is red, the weapons are this blades are this gray color. I'm not exactly following those in the same way with this abomination model, just because it is fairly different than the rest of the army. So in a way it'll like stick out like a sore thumb because of that, but at the same time it's also like the tallest mini in the army right now, so it's going to stick out either way, and it's not going to have any clashing, jarring colors, so I think it'll be fine. I should probably be wearing a glove for this, but I don't think I'm going to do that until I'm at the until I'm painting it after the washed stage. Just because, you know, the longer you wear a glove, the sweatier your hand gets, and it's not fun having clammy, sweaty hands, you know? And also, when I was like trying to decide where to block out some of the later colors in painting this, I like compared it to the one they have painted on their website. I'm like, oh, I interpreted the color placements for this model way differently than their studio painter. Yeah, Nathaniel, I've repurposed many model boxes to be used for other things after the model is built. The real grade Hainu. That was the most, oh no, what have I done kit? Yeah, I can get that Dolpho. Yeah, Nathaniel, that's why I usually don't bother with the cleanup unless I know I'm painting it. Yeah, that's very true, Dolfo. The painting tutorial videos aren't super great at teaching you brush controls, but compared to just doing a lot of painting and figuring out how to work your brush around different shapes of models. You need someone to teach you how to paint kits, Tanko Wolf. I'm assuming you made gunpla kits. Do you mean like airbrushing them? Oh, I see. Dolfo's already asked that. Oh, and I see you've answered both hand and airbrush. Yeah, I mean, with something super niche like gunpla mini painting, like, you know, sometimes you're lucky and there's like a workshop happening in your area or at a con you can attend. But a lot of time it just comes down to like reading online blog tutorials or watching videos and then trying it yourself and failing and learning from that, or not failing and just practicing. Yeah, Nathaniel, I can also build those IBO or high-grade IBO frames pretty fast. I know what you mean. Your plan is to do a master grade eclipse with metallic turquoise as a primary color, left arm metallic orange, white as an accent color, and the frame a darker gray with silver dry brush. The Desperado Eclipse. That sounds cool. Yes, the Castellan robots. Those are fun ones. Xerox. Yeah, I feel similar to you, Dolpha, about the hand painting versus airbrushing, but airbrushing you can't be more creative with it. It's just like your airbrush has to be working well, and so it feels like my airbrush malfunctions a lot, or in the past that's how it's been. Some people find the airbrushing way easier than the hand painting. Yep, that's true, Franky Stein. I think I remember seeing that Astaroth, Nathaniel. So what I missed while I was on my little hiatus from streaming, is everyone good? How's everyone doing? Is anyone doing any hobby stuff tonight? Or today, if it's the next day where you live? The morning, I should say. Yeah, painting this part next to the red, I'm making sure to get full coverage on the gray and just spilling over onto the red because it's easy for me to tidy that up after with the red on the palette, but not the like carapace color above because that was dry brushed on, so it'd be a lot harder to tidy up. Alright, what do we think of that collar armor? Do you think it makes sense with my color placements there? I could extend the gray color into this area. That probably makes sense, actually. Even though that part of the sculpt is a little jank. Yeah, I think we're gonna do that. Is what a playlist on Spotify, Dolpho? Oh, you mean the music that's playing on the stream? No, it's it's like a long music track that I mixed in Adobe Audition and like plug into the streaming software and it loops. And the songs I got from artlist.com, which is like the music service I use. So I have like music I have the rights to play on content. So I don't have like a track list for you or anything, unfortunately. What's the last kit you painted, Tinkle Wolf? Yeah, Franky Stein metal minis are hard for that. I just noticed the mic clipped. Sorry if the mic is too loud, let me know and I can turn it down. Yeah, when I paint metal minis, I usually give it a double coat of gloss varnish and then a coat of matte varnish. But even then, things will still chip, like especially if you're playing a tabletop game where there's lots of dice flying around and potentially colliding. So that's just kind of the nature of metal minis, and I like metal minis. I got a strong nostalgia for them, and I like the heft and chonk they have. But you know, there's a reason the industry mostly does plastics now, plastic and resin. Yeah, the red and black Eclipse looks pretty good because it's got that race car vibe. You've been mad as hell all week, Dolphin. Oh no, that's worth getting mad over. I'm sorry to hear your fridge about your fridge. Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair reason to slow down on the hobby purchases. But yeah, that's tragic, man. No, that's a nice mix. James there, a Charzaku 2 and Space Hulk Gene Stealers. The Char Custom 4.0. What's that like, Tinko? Oh, varnish after the primer. Yeah, that's some serious anti-chipping techniques. But yeah, with a metal mini, sometimes you just can't avoid it unless you like totally baby the mini, which is hard to do if it's a tabletop gaming piece. Yeah, these areas back here are a little tricky to get to. Okay, well, do we need to add any more gray to that? Yeah, that's very true, Franky Stein. I guess I could extend this gray color just a little bit higher. Yeah, I think that would make sense. Yeah, I guess you're pretty lucky in that sense, Dolfo. Could have been a lot worse. That's very glass half full energy. Which I'd say is good energy to have. Could argue that I should paint these plates on the back of the neck that same color, but I don't think I'm going to because I kind of want to leave it to like help the different areas blend in together. Yeah, I mean, if I start painting those, then it would make sense to also like go paint those panels with that, and I kind of want to keep them with the dry brushed look. At the end of the day, the shapes and like designs on this model are so out of the ordinary. Like, I gotta just embrace an equally as out of the ordinary color placement. And then we'll just paint this area around the bulbous areas that are going to get the shifter paint with the same gray. That just kind of makes sense to me. Just kind of sneak in on the edge. Tinko Wolf, I use a wash for my minis. If it's like a mini, like a Tau mech or something like a Tau mech or a Space Marine where there's defined panel lines, I'll use like panel liners sometimes, but most of the times with minis I use a wash, especially with my spires models. The whole army color scheme kind of is tied together by a very strong brown wash I put on them, which I'll probably get to at some point in this stream. We'll see. And it's really that's the part of the color scheme that like really ties everything together and makes it work. I'll try to talk about this more when I get to the actual washing stage, but it's been a bit of a problem because I'm having troubles getting a new bottle of this wash for when it runs out. I still have a decent amount left now, but it's gonna run out eventually, and I've been looking for a replacement product that's more easy to get, and I haven't found one yet because it's like a very specific kind of brown wash. So that'll be an ongoing saga. Yeah, and speaking of washes, I need to paint these designs here, and then on the legs here, you can see I've started it on this one. And then when those are done, we'll be at the washing stage, but there's still a decent chunk of work to do. I think it's time for me to go get a conch though, and the camera's being a bit laggy, so I'm gonna turn the camera on and off again. Yeah, it is a very strange forehead crown, Dolfo. It's why I refer to it as a janky model a couple times. The sculpt is just like, yeah, it's something you don't really see in other places. I'm glad that they can do that for you, Tinko Wolf. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm just gonna grab a crispy can of conch to crack, and then we can get some burp tallies going. Okay, I'm back. Just gonna slide the chair into position without bumping the desk too hard. Move the abomination out of the way so I don't get soda on it. Good thing I moved it. We did spray a bit. Alright, cheers everybody. We finally got the burp counter, so hopefully I can get lots of burps in. Are you saying the model I'm painting right now is giving you a kit bash idea for a Char Custom 5.0? Okay, well, I'll do the shoulders, then I'll move down to the feet. Actually, I'll just finish this one, because it's kind of, sort of, almost done. Yeah, doing the washing stage is going to be intense with this one just because it's such a large area to cover. Yeah, when I'm painting these more inward facing parts of the legs, it's going to be hard to show off all the brush strokes to the camera, so apologies for that. Hopefully you can still see some of them though. It's pretty awkward for me to get in here with the brush, as you can see. But you know, that's just the nature of painting big monsters. You can get around it by painting it in sub-assemblies, but you know, I've been like using this model in plenty of games of Conquest that I've been playing, so it's more fun to play with a model that's like fully built, you know? Like I'm usually too, I like the look, seeing the models completed so much that, you know, a lot of time it makes sense to paint the shields separately before you put them on the mini, but I'm always impatient of like, no, I just want to build them with the shields. It's usually not a problem if you're painting at tabletop level. It looks really happy and it needs a hug. Yeah, it's running towards the enemy army looking for a hug. Hello, MJRL Hobby Stuff. Welcome back. Thanks for coming. Yeah, the Spires army has a new monster coming out in November, I believe. It's either November or late October, called the Siegebreaker Behemoth. And let's see, this abomination I think was designed or produced in 2018 or 2019, so comparing it to the Siegebreaker Behemoth, you can really see how far Parabellum have improved with their miniature productions. The way things stand right now, I don't have it in the budget to buy a Siegebreaker Behemoth when it comes out, but I'm sure I'll get one eventually. I got, you know, I can do a solid 2,000 point list with my 100 kingdoms now. And with the spires, I can do a solid 1,500 points, so... And there's still plenty of stuff to paint among those, so I'm not feeling too much pressure to collect a whole bunch of new monsters and stuff for this army. You know, still feeling a little pressure, as there's always pressure for a general to expand his forces and buy more minis for the backlog. But, you know, I had my big conquest model acquiring spree in the first 6 to 8 months of 2023. I gotta slow down now. Alright, thanks for coming by, Nathaniel. Bye. Hope to see you on the next one. Ooh, this is an awkward angle. Yeah, I'm gonna take a break to paint the shoulder area after this awkward inside of the leg part. That's like barely even gonna be visible. I still gotta base coat it though. I can get away with not highlighting these basically hidden areas. I can't not base coat it though. Are you talking about the Castellans, the Xerox EXE? Was it you that was building those? The T-Rex as a display piece? Yeah, all their dinosaur models are really great. I'm guessing you've seen the big Brontosaurus that's coming out. Like right now, the Tauntaur and Drum Beast. I haven't seen one in person yet, but I'm sure I will eventually. What I've seen pictures of has been quite impressive. Yeah, the way that when I was talking about how the wash and this color scheme ties everything together, definitely applies in areas like this where it kind of feels like the cool gray clashes with the tan armor color, but when they all got a really strong brown wash slathered over them, they get tied together a bit better. Okay, there we go, burp 1. There we go, people. It's time to utilize the burp counter for the first time. Burps 1. There, boom. That's just the way my voice sounds, Tanko. It's just a monotone robot voice that always sounds tired, sarcastic, or sad. And the drink I'm drinking right now has caffeine in it. And before I started streaming, I had a coffee. like in the half an hour before the stream started. So I think I've utilized as much caffeine as I can get away with for now. Yeah, I'm really tempted to continue painting this gray area all the way down here, but I think for the sake of speed painting, I'm not going to. Okay, I said I would do the shoulder. We'll do one shoulder area and then back to the leg and then do the other shoulder area just so it doesn't get too tedious. Yeah, I don't know much, or I can't remember too much about how the Castellan robots look, but it's always disappointing when there's only one head choice. I know there's no robots in Conquest because it's a fantasy game, but they usually give you plenty of head choices, at least with their newer models. The 100 Kingdoms Imperial Rangers kit had so many extra heads. A lot of the 100 Kingdoms kit had a lot of extra heads, so my bits box just has so many head choices for kit bashing. It's great. I'm a fan. Yeah, these shoulder areas might end up just getting the shifter paint. We'll see. This dark, or this cool gray can work for the base coat of the shifter paint fine, especially on a thin area like this. It doesn't have to be pure black like the other ones. And also when it comes to painting fine details like this, if I don't get like right up to the edge, the washing stage can kind of make up for some of those imperfections. Because it'll like add and darken to the borders of everything. You have like some control of that depending on how much you let it intentionally pool, or I guess like how heavy you put it on. Okay, I think that's good enough there. The Tim Hortons was better in Canada than in the US? Damn. It must be pretty bad in the US then, because it's pretty bad in Canada. I do live in Canada, so thanks for the Thanksgiving acknowledgement, I guess. I did have some turkey yesterday and today. Hence why I need all this caffeine, I guess. That was a weak burp, but that kind of counts as burp too. Okay, there's the rest of it. We'll count all that as one burp. Oh boy, we're at 2 burps already. But the stream's been going on for almost an hour, so I guess that's... Our burp ratio hasn't, like, reached the usual levels yet. Usually I crack the can open right at the beginning of the stream, though I didn't do that this time. Oh, burp 3. Burp 3. There's enough distance between those that can count as a new one. Tim Hortons, it's like a restaurant chain. It's like maybe it's like the Canadian equivalent of Dunkin'. Would anyone agree with me on that? It's just like a fast food place, but that focuses on breakfast stuff. So, you know, lots of donuts. And we have like a donut hole product where it's just like, you know, a sphere of donut. They're called Timbits. But, and you know, you got like a farmer's wrap, which is like egg, sausage, hash brown with some sauce, all like wrapped in a burrito wrap. It's pretty unhealthy, but it tastes good. You know, Tim Hortons is just like cheap, fast breakfast food. For a while they were trying to do like a burger. I think they might be experimenting with flatbread now, but usually they discontinue those things. Yeah, GS Tyler, you could put weathering on this model. You could put weathering on any model, really. It's just a matter of making sure the weathering looks accurate to scale. And like accurate to the materials that you're painting them to look like, I suppose. So you might not use the same techniques. And like the plastic, well, I don't know if the plastic on these would be, might be a little bit softer than the plastic used for Gunpla. I'm not entirely sure. And whether that impacts how you weather something depends on the weathering you're doing. I'm not the most experienced at weathering, because I mean, obviously you've seen my Gunpla kits. I paint them to be very clean and fancy. And most of the minis I've painted for the last few years, it's mostly just focusing on executing the paint job efficiently, quickly, and consistently. And don't really do any weathering. I've done it on a few of my models. I like depending on the look. I've got some like trencher models for my Signar army, and I added like I had some like brown pigment powder and mixed it with medium to kind of make just like a muddy textured mess, and like dabbed it over boots and like the bottoms of cloaks and stuff, or like around the feet of like stompy robots. And that was pretty easy. Or I've used like a black pigment powder around smokestacks to kind of make them look sooty. Or around the barrels of cannons. I don't, like, anytime I do weathering though, I keep it pretty basic. Because I just, it's not they aren't techniques I've focused on that much. I've preferred to focus on other things, and I leave the weathering to the weathering experts. I think I hear Rinaldi Press is good at weathering. He's a scale modeler. I don't know if he does minis, but they're a scale modeler. Oh, I went ahead and painted the other shoulder. I just remember now, I said I was gonna do a leg. Well, I respect your opinion that you think Tim Hortons coffee is good, but I'll disagree. I think, at least in Canada, Tim Hortons used to have decent coffee, but then at a certain point, like, McDonald's started using the beans Tim Hortons used to use, and then Tim Hortons started using new beans and it didn't taste as good. So maybe McDonald's poached the good cheap coffee wholesaler. Who knows? I do like a good sour cream glazed donut from Tim Hortons though, every once in a while. Or a farmer's wrap. Yeah, Tinko Wolf, weathering definitely does take some skill. I remember watching a really cool painting video once of a guy. He was painting like the Stormwall Colossal for Signar and War Machine. I guess that's a pretty obscure model now. Basically, it's a big steampunk robot. And he was showing off the hairspray weathering technique, which is pretty cool. I guess that comes from like the military scale modeling world. And that's like where after you've done your priming layer, you put on some brown layers, and then you put on like a couple layers of hairspray after that. And then I think there might be some varnish after that or something, or some use of mineral spirits. And basically, or no, you would paint the regular colors of the actual armor on top of that. And then you chip away at it with a toothpick or something, and it reveals the brown layers you put on beforehand. And then because of that, you add lots of texture and like layers of stuff with the hairspray you added, so that like it just makes a really cool rust effect. Hopefully I didn't do too terrible of a job of explaining how that weathering technique works, but if you're looking for like rusty corroded metal or like battle worn metal, the hairspray chipping technique might be worth looking into. That's probably one of the more intense techniques I can think of. Big hugs all around for the coffee lovers, that's right. I guess the non-coffee lovers can have hugs as well. No, I would be planning to just stream again right in the morning tomorrow, but I have to take the car to the mechanic in the morning tomorrow, and then there's like some building maintenance people I have to be around to deal with. So I won't be able to do a stream in the morning tomorrow like I wanted to, because I did want to, or if any of you were watching the streams I did on the aerial before that video came out, I was experimenting with doing some morning streams, which I definitely want to get back to doing. It's just the beginning part of this week I awkwardly won't be able to. Burp 4. Okay, I'll use up the paint on the brush, and then I gotta remember to update the counter. Yeah, I think I mentioned in the posts I made today, plug in the stream, that the schedule is going to be a bit irregular just because of my IRL schedule for the next little while. Like on the weekend, I'm going out of town for like 6 days. So I mean, right now it's just like when I have time to paint on stream, I'm gonna paint on stream. I'm home alone right now until like the 20th, So I got lots of time to stream. Hopefully I can do a lot of streams. I always try to post them to like my Instagram story and stuff with a countdown as far, like I aim for like 6 to 8 hours before the stream. But you know, like tomorrow, if depending on how things go, I might just spontaneously start up a stream and be like, all right, I'm just gonna stream until the mechanic calls me and I have to go pick up the car. And then maybe I'll get home, make some food, and then stream again in a few hours. And then like usual, once the painting for the conquest video is done, I'll take a brief break from streaming to edit the video and all that. But with the recent updates I made to the Patreon benefits in the stream, I'm pretty confident that I can just leave it be for the next little while and just do a lot more streaming. And honestly, that's mostly just so I can, like, if I just am in the mindset to just do a lot more streaming, then I think I'll get a lot more painting done. Get through the dang backlog. We'll have to see how it goes, though. Another aspect of that is after the conquest videos that I'm gonna have to be job searching pretty hard. So it's easier to like keep up regular live streaming while looking for a job than it is to keep putting out those videos that I've been doing. Thanks, Tanko. All right, gotta update the burps. Almost forgot. Oh boy, 4 burps already. Glad that the next step of painting to do after the tedious trim is just the wash stage. I mean, the wash stage is going to be intense with this model because it's so big, and I gotta make sure like you can't start and stop the wash stage because then you'll get weird drying lines. So it's gonna, and I also like I can't hold the model like I'm holding it now when there's wash drying on it, so I'm gonna have to be very strategic. And I'm gonna have to use a lot of wash. Hopefully not too much wash, because I gotta be able to finish the current spires models I have. I want to eventually expand the spires army from its current 1,500 points to 2,000 points. But we'll really have to see what the levels of wash we got left are like after the painting for this video, because that'll impact. I mean, it's already kind of influenced my decision for the 100 Kingdoms to be the faction I focus on more. I mean, that's one factor that went into the decision making, not the only one. Alright, this is an awkward part to try and show on camera. What's up, Ethan? Hello. Yeah, Adolfo. I mean, there's like the problem with that. I mean, I've used stream recordings in videos, definitely. The main problem I have is that you can like record the stream with the software while you're streaming, but then, you know, if I do like my usual 3-hour stream, then I have this like 35 gigabyte file sitting on my computer, and like I have extra hard drives and all that and like space on my computer, but I don't have the money to invest in like the proper like efficient setup to do it. And also it takes a while to like scrub through those stream VODs and find the parts worth posting and edit it down into something. So most of the tubers that do that have someone to do the editing for them on that stuff. It's like the only way. It's like, you know, YouTube channels have a real, or like once they get to the bigger sizes, they have a real economy of scale effect. It's like, yeah, I could edit down the streams and make more videos out of it, but that takes enough time and energy that it would significantly impact the creation of the main content and the amount of painting I could get done. Because, you know, I don't, like I said earlier, I've got to be job searching soon, so that should be an indication that I don't have the budget to hire an editor, much as I wish I could. Yeah, lots of YouTube advice in terms of going pro or whatever. A lot of advice you hear is that like some of the first work you should outsource is the editing. But you know, I wouldn't, if I was hiring an editor, I would want to be able to pay them fairly. And I can't even pay myself fairly right now. Or I should say, I don't get paid fairly myself, in my opinion, but that's a whole thing. Alright, just the front legs to do now. What scale model can I suggest for beginner hand painter? Warhammer 40k seems too small to begin with. Well, I don't think I need to suggest a specific scale. It depends on what you want to hand paint. Like, I only really need to buy Warhammer models if you want to be playing Warhammer. If you don't want to be playing Warhammer, there's a lot of better, cheaper options. I'll just go and see what you can find at your local hobby store that looks easy enough to paint and it's like in a style you want to paint. You know, if you want to paint a medieval warrior, that's going to be a lot different than painting a robot or something. And if you're like for gunpla, I would just say like get a nice, cheap, high grade to practice on, or even an SD if you want to be extra cheap. Dolpho, are you, when you're saying the guy who like streams or is recording live, are you talking about yourmoviesucks.org? Because I've definitely seen him do that. That's something that'd be easier to do if I wasn't painting. But you know, live streaming, it's not about at least when I'm live streaming, it's not about getting the bonus content. It's about like, well, I have to do this painting anyways, and I also want to, I like streaming and providing that content and interacting with you all, so might as well stream and share the process. Oh yeah, Etsy, that's a good suggestion too. Even like a lot of hobbies, like game stores, will just have like stuff like Reaper Bones minis, where they're just like really cheap D&D minis. Those are good to practice on. They might not be the best, like most enjoyable sculpts to paint a lot of the time, but they're really affordable. I think the most important thing to remember is you have to like be painting something that excites you in some way. Like it has to be a model you would like and want to paint. Like you could have a cool Griffin mini that's like a good like model to practice painting feathers on, but if you have like no interest in painting a Griffin and you're not going to be inspired painting it, then like maybe it's not the right choice. Oh, fighting game stuff. Yeah, it'd be hard to play a fighting game on stream and also like actively focus on recording parts of it for a video. Yeah, I haven't watched much fighting game content, but from what I understand, the fighting game community is pretty large and intense. I'm one of those people that just appreciates fighting. Well, okay, the exception is Soul Calibur. The Soul Calibur games, love those. I can be like half competent at Soul Calibur, specifically Soul Calibur 3 for the PS2. Other than that, I just, you know, like I'm that guy who just watches the compilations of Mortal Kombat finisher moves. But you know, I still played Mortal Kombat. I'm more of a strategy / RPG gamer. Give me turn-based shit. I know they're like tabletop card games that are they're supposed to emulate fighting games in some way, like boxing or brawling, so that's a turn-based fighting game. I don't know if a video game interpretation of something like that has ever been attempted or not. Soul Calibur 3. Yeah, I liked playing Siegfried and Nightmare a lot. They're fun. I think probably the one I played the most was Lizard Man. Who else? I liked that I made a lot of custom characters in Soul Calibur 3. That's probably like the most underrated part of Soul Calibur 3 was the character creator was pretty like in-depth, all things considered. I feel like there's one other character that I'm missing that I played a lot of. Maybe a bit of, I think in Soul Calibur 2, the one I played more was Raphael. But that was like one of the ones I mostly played at a friend's house. I didn't have a copy myself. I think in Soul Calibur 6, the ones I've played the most are Soul Calibur 3, 5, Soul Calibur 3, and Soul Calibur 6. In Soul Calibur 6, like almost all my playtime was just playing custom characters, because the character creator in that one was even better, obviously. I think I played a decent amount of Sophitia in Soul Calibur 3 as well. Maybe a bit of Yoshimitsu. Or Yoshimitsu, I should say. He was a fun, zany guy. Probably the most playtime was like Lizardmen followed by Nightmare. I really appreciate in fact, in terms of other fighting games, I've only played it a little bit. I'm very bad at it, but I really appreciate the aesthetic of Guilty Gear. Well, one fighting game that I really wanted to be a bit better, so I never played that much of it, was the Kill la Kill fighting game. If anyone remembers that. Yeah, Talon or Keelik. Keelik was the character I would always recommend to people who'd never played before, because he was like, you know, long ranged and a decently fast attacker, so he was like a bit more forgiving to play. Talon's weapons were pretty interesting. But yeah, it's hard to resist swinging that big sword and channeling that guts energy, if you know what I mean. Playing Gerald in Soul Calibur 6 was pretty good too. Oh, you said you dodged 6 though. Yeah, we got more Soul Calibur enjoyers in the chat. Which characters did you like to play, Xerox? Another Keelik and Talon enjoyer, I see. Yeah, Dolpha, I haven't painted any, like, official display figures or statues before, but, I mean, there's a very large dragon mini I have that's technically for War Machine and Hordes, but it's for a faction I don't collect. I just bought it because I thought it was a really good model, so that's, like, basically a statue I painted. But I mean, if someone commissioned me to paint a statue or something, like, I would definitely consider it. Do you watch the YouTube channel Ground Affected? He's a guy, he like 3D prints a lot of statues from comic books and stuff, or he's a commission painter, so a lot of his stuff will be like 3D printed statues of Harley Quinn or Rogue from X-Men and stuff. He also did, I found out about him because he did a Space Marine Land Raider that he converted into like a working remote controlled like tank that also had a built-in flamethrower. Yeah, Xerox, that's what's fun about Soul Calibur, is you can have fun playing most of the characters. Also, it's always, I always, like, every once in a while put in a meme round playing as Voldo, you know, because you gotta show off his weird-ass moves to people. The guy's name was Ground Affected. I believe he's also a tattoo artist. He's pretty funny too. His YouTube intro. He's like, "My name is your dad." Wish I came up with something like that. Instead, I just say, "Hello, people." But you know, I like saying "hello, people." I'm not gonna change it. I think it's his intro is just better because it fits the vibe of his channel well. "My name is your dad." He's British, I think. I haven't played Final Fantasy 16. Blue Parappa was sad she couldn't play it because, you know, we only have a PS4. Or she only has a PS4. It's hers, she just lets me use it sometimes. But yeah, is anyone else here playing Final Fantasy 16? I know almost nothing about it. Yo, Blue Parappa didn't want to talk about it much because talking about it just reminded her that she couldn't play it. She was a big fan of Final Fantasy 15. I think her favorite might be Final Fantasy 10 though. I'll have to ask her again. Hasn't everyone just been playing nothing but Baldur's Gate 3? And oh, we can't forget Armored Core 6 though. Ronald McDonald as Raphael. Yeah, I remember there's a really good Sonic character someone made in the Soul Calibur 6 character creator. Oh, you're talking about Final Fantasy 14. I misread the Roman numerals. How embarrassing. I've played a bit of Final Fantasy 14. That's the MMO one, right? Yeah, I mean, MMOs are cool. I don't really have the ability to play them anymore. But Final Fantasy 14 was pretty cool from what I did play. It's fun that you can be a cat person. The classes are interesting. At the end of the day though, you know, I played it and I put enough hours in with World of Warcraft over the years, and like, you know, I could... When it comes to games like that, it's hard for me to, like, you know, play them casually. It's like, look, if I'm gonna play this, I'm gonna go hard on it. And, like, grind and all that stuff. And, you know, I just recognize that I only got so much time at my disposal, and it's more important for me to use that time for other things. You know, if I had to pick between going back to World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy, I'd be more inclined to do Final Fantasy. Or there's this one charming MMO I played a bit with Blue Parappa called Mabinogi. She still plays it. And, you know, I don't play it for the same reason I don't play any MMOs. But, you know, that's one worth... If I was dedicating some time to play MMOs, I would definitely also consider playing the old school charming obscure MMO Mabinogi so that I could play with my significant other. She got a title for her character of she like is an expert sheep shearer, so her character has like after her name has the title sheep shearer, I believe. So, you know, that's pretty cool. Okay, finally done that. Grieve. Oh, no, not done. There's still a tiny bit left. Just gonna get that over with, and then I'll catch up with the chat. Oh, that was a tricky bit that I probably won't be highlighting. Yes, meow, you main warrior. Yeah, I understand some people can strike a good balance of just playing an MMO casually, but I have a hard time with that. It's like I can't just sit down and play a couple turns of Total War. I gotta play like way too many turns. Yeah, painting all these spires minis. I mean, if you're a patron, you've seen the pictures of all the minis I've painted off camera from the last little while, but it's been a very refreshing change of pace from painting all the intricate or the clean Gunpla stuff, because with the Spires army I'm going for like a excuse me, burp 5. I'm going for like a tabletop quality, fairly fast speed paint, which I'll explain more in the actual video. But you know, for models like this, I'm like, you know, intentionally painting a bit messy. Maybe not with these greaves right now, but when I was painting like the fleshy bits, I was being real messy, and it was just fun. But you know, it's not like I'm gonna, like, I'll get back to Gunpla definitely before I'm like finishing these conquest armies. I'll probably, I mean, I got a couple of solid chunks more conquest paint I'm gonna do for the upcoming video. But then I'll definitely be wanting to take a break and go back to something for a little bit of a break from the conquests. Because there's enough in the backlog that's too much to like do in one big marathon. Because spoiler alert, I've bought some more conquest models since the last video. Oh, we're at 6 burps? I must have missed another one. I had a hunch that I might have missed another one, actually. Six burps would make sense. I am done the can now, so I think that's a pretty average amount of burps from a single can. Way? No. 6 burps. Okay. And since this is my big, exciting return to stream, I'm gonna try and stream for as long as I can. Because I still got plenty of time in the night. We'll see how my energy levels are at. You know, once I reach the usual time of like 2.5, 3 hours. I think it'd be nice if I could get past 3 hours though, at least. Probably take a break at some point for my wrist and maybe just show off some of the models I have painted. How many of you watching in the chat have seen the Verka announcement for the next Verka being the narrative Gundam? Was anyone else a little surprised by that? Like, in some ways it was surprising, but in other ways it was like the least surprising thing. Yeah, yeah, I agree, Dolfo. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know anyone who saw that announcement and was like, oh yeah, I've been waiting for this one. That seemed to be the general consensus. Oh, really, Xerox? Well, I'm glad your dreams could come true then. Happy for you. Yeah, I still haven't done a Verka myself. I do the Wing Zero Verka, that's like, or out of all the recent Verkas, that's like one of the ones I'd be more interested in doing, but like I haven't had a good reason to fork over the money for it and put in the effort of doing it. Can't say the Zeta Verka excited me that much though. And I think a lot of that was due to... I mean, I do think transforming kits are super cool and the Zeta looked like it had a legit transformation. But I'm way less likely to paint a transforming kit. And so when it comes to just doing snap builds or like basic panel lining on kits, usually I'm not doing that with like the really big master grades, or really big and complex master grades, I should say. The Zeta looked pretty, like a pretty high quality model though. It's a very solid transformation. But the transforming kits just usually aren't the kind of kits I go for. I haven't, I don't know how much information has been put out about the narrative Gundam Verka. I don't know if it's going to have a ton of fancy gimmicks or anything. I haven't seen the movie that the narrative Gundam is from, so I don't know, like, what fancy gimmicks it might have in the animation. Does anyone in chat know if that Verka is going to have any, like, fancy gimmick parts or anything like that. Goblin asks, do I have any experience with Corvus Belly minis? Yes, but I only collected Infinity minis during the 3rd edition. So the last one I bought would have been back in like 2018 or something. And that was before they started doing that CO cast stuff. So all the, I think, yeah, every single Infinity model I have is metal, which, their metal is really good quality. The sculpts are good. It's just like hard to work with because it's metal. It has a lot of option packs. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I thought Unicorn was alright, but I didn't like Unicorn enough to feel like motivated to watch the movie, I guess. Being a bad Gundam fan. I'm trying to remember. I don't know if it's on Netflix or not. I should probably watch it if it's on Netflix. I have access to Netflix. If I have insomnia tonight, maybe I'll look. Got some water on the leg there. One interesting benefit of like a bad practice kind of paying off in a good way was like me just holding the model with my bare hands like this is causing some of it to rub off, but that's almost like revealing. Okay, this was just thin paint, that's not from it rubbing off, but like on the claws here it's like kind of rubbing off, but what's the color underneath almost looks like a bit of a highlight, so it's free real estate. After the washing, like when I'm painting this in the next stage after the wash is dry, though, I'll probably reluctantly put on the glove like I should be doing now. You know, with a monster mini like this, it doesn't need to have a super clean paint job like a Gundam does. Or like my style of Gundam does. Almost done this leg. I'm not sure if you're asking me or Dolfo Xerox, but I haven't seen the narrative movie. I've seen Unicorn, and I didn't hate Unicorn, I enjoyed it, but it was like, it's not that high up in my like list of most enjoyed Gundam shows. The Gundam shows I mean, probably my favorite Gundam show that I've watched was Thunderbolt. And then the next one I enjoyed, Iron-Blooded Orphans. Yeah, I enjoy. Well, it's hard to compare Iron-Blooded Orphans and the 8th MS team. Maybe I enjoyed them both equally, but Iron-Blooded Orphans has a lot more episodes. I like the mech designs in Our Blood of Orphans more than in the 1 Year War. The Origin series was good, I like that. Like G Gundam. G Gundam's a super fun time. Palette paper is drying up. I'm gonna have to rehydrate the water soon. Okay, I'll probably just call the base coating done now. I think I'm ready to do the wash. Well, I'm ready to move on to that stage, but I'm gonna have to gotta do a bit of wet palette maintenance first. Get the next stuff ready. So yeah, I've got this. This is the wash that ties everything together. You've probably seen it before. The Secret Weapon Sewer Water. And this bottle is still like decently full. Because I added a bit of thinner to it to make it last a bit, and then I've just been conservative with it. I used to use it to wash the bases for both my Conquest armies, but I changed that to Army Painter Strong Tone so that this would last longer. And you know, it looks a bit better if like a slightly different tone of brown for the base helps the model stick out a bit more. And then we also have, this is just like universal thinner. And I'm just like adding a bit of thinner as I use this just to make it, just to stretch it out to last as long as possible. Because Secret Weapon, I don't think I'm pretty sure all Secret Weapon paints are not in production anymore. I haven't really looked into it, but I know my local game store can't get them anymore. What model kit are you building there, Dolpho, that's giving you trouble? Okay, I'm gonna put up the holding screen just for a minute while I go change the paint water so I can refill the palette. And while I'm doing that, I'm also gonna grab some of the finished Spires minis and bring them over to the desk so it's easy for me to show them off while I'm waiting for the wash to dry. So I will be right back. back. Sorry to keep you waiting. So just gotta re-moisten the old wet palette here. Eastern Model Fenrir. Don't know that one. I've painted the LBX Fenrir. Assuming that's something completely different though. Too many bubbles in here. Ugh, I don't think I can get rid of them all. There's a decent chunk of red on the palette. I'm kind of tempted to use that up on a mini. Just another mini that needs it. This is gonna be a while before I can use it on the Abomination. Like by the time I would get to that stage, it would dry up. So I'll just start working, I'll just add this red to the old Assault Preceptor here. So early preview from a future stream. Question is, do I know which colors on this are gonna get the red? Yeah, I guess probably. Okay, there's a few. A few spots, I suppose. Yeah, on the legs and stuff. We'll probably do this with the turquoise color. Alright, this is just to use up the paint that's on the palette before it, you know, before it starts to develop a skin on top. It's already developing a little bit of a skin, so we should get on this. Don't want the paint getting too chunky now. And I guess we'll put it on a painting handle. We got the Games Workshop butt plug here. That's what everyone calls it anyways. Got a bit of overspill there. Just gonna try and carefully sponge that up. Try and keep the camera in focus, I guess. could probably paint... I'll add some of this red color to this weird ponytail spine thing that sticks out of his hood. I don't know exactly what it's supposed to be. There's a lot of... That's what's kind of cool about the spires models, is there's a lot of aspects to them where, like, I don't know what I'm supposed to paint this part of the model to look like. So it's an interesting challenge in that way. Also, I tipped this mini over at one point and his pointing finger snapped off because it's fragile resin. So that was fun to glue on. It's one downside of the cool Conquest character minis. But it's not really a problem unique to Conquest. It's like there's a lot of minis with really cool dynamic poses out there, but you know, the cooler the pose, the more fragile the mini sometimes. Something an experienced wargamer like myself is used to dealing with. The mimetic assassin spires model is probably the worst for it. There's another player at the game store I play with who plays spires, and his mimetic assassin has broken at the ankle multiple times because it's just, I mean, if you've seen the model you'll know that's just a very fragile point, but you know, because of its fragile ankle, it has a really cool pose, so it's like a trade-off. It's not like a trade-off we chose because we aren't the ones designing the models. You know, that's just how it goes with miniatures. I guess it's similar to how Gundams have fragile V-fins, I suppose. I know YouTube's been changing the way their like ads placements or the automatic ad placements on streams work. Has anyone watching found the ads like more frequent or more annoying than usual? Be curious to know. And you know, if you use an ad blocker, that's understandable. That's probably all the red I'm gonna put on. Oh, I guess it has like a pseudo beard. Let's paint that red just for fun for now. I can always change my mind later. Okay, that's probably... I could use up more of this red on a bit of another model, but I think I've used up enough of it to get my... or to not let too much go to waste, I should say. So we'll close this up for now because it's time to get to washing. Let's just put this back over here. YouTube Premium. That's the most wholesome form of ad blocker. I got YouTube gives me a cut of that money you give to them for YouTube Premium. I think that's how it works. This is a Bandai product, by the way. I don't know what you call a paint cup or dish. And when I lay it flat, it like reflects the light from the lamp into my face, so I like to put it on a bit of an angle. And that also helps the wash kind of pool into a bit more of a recess and not dry up as fast. Okay, so when you're applying wash, you probably heard me say before, you have to apply it all to one area before it dries, otherwise you get a weird drying line. And this is a large model, so doing it all in one go is not super doable, but we do have like natural borders between parts that we can like stop at to alleviate that issue. And yeah, I think I'll probably start from the feet up, and I have to be really careful not to touch the wet wash parts. If I do, it won't be the end of the world. And it won't matter if I'm wearing a glove or not. If I touch it, it'll like disrupt the surface in the finish. Hello, Juanito. I don't know how to say your name. It is a big boy. Thank you. Just about to start slathering secret weapons, sewer water all over it. Yeah, Yujing, Pen, Oceania, and Nomads. The two factions I have. I didn't play it. I was very casual with my playing of Infinity. I have a decent collection of Pano miniatures, and then I have like a small collection of Yujing. I mostly collected Yujing just so I had an excuse to buy their tag model. The one with the sword, not the one with the knife. And yeah, I painted that, and it was a fun model to paint because it looks awesome. It's metal though, so you know it chips easier. The Nomads have some pretty cool tags as well though. And we're just thinning this out just to make it last a bit longer because we only have the one bottle. It's gonna be hard to find a replacement. Hopefully I thinned that proper amount. I kind of just eyeballed it. So to get things started, we've got a logical step to just do the feet, and there's a natural border with the leg armor that we can stop at to avoid any ugly drying lines. If there's like drying lines on the ridge of the leg armor itself, shouldn't be an issue because I'll be doing edge highlighting over top of that, so there'll be ample opportunity to correct any mistakes like that. And yeah, again, apologies that painting the areas like the inside of the legs is going to be not the easiest to show off what all the detail painting there looks like. And I've put in a bit too much on the front there. Just gotta make sure that doesn't pool, so instead of refilling the brush in the cup, I'm just gonna grab extra paint from that part of the model. Just mop it up so it doesn't pool. 1 foot down. Yeah, that's a good rationale for picking off the aesthetics that way, Goblin. Oh, hello, another Nate. Congrats on getting the child to bed. Welcome to the stream. You've come in just as I've finished the base coats and am slopping secret weapons sewer water wash all over. Yeah, you can see areas like around where the sort of thumb-looking appendage there is. It's starting to pool a bit, so I gotta make sure I dab those areas up before they dry. But you can already kind of see how much this wash stains the color, which is what I'm going for. I feel like I over-thinned it a little bit, but it's not enough to... I mean, if it's really an issue, I can just put another layer on over top after. We'll have to see what it looks like when dry. By the time I've like washed probably all the way up to the waist of this, then the 1 foot will be, or the first foot I did will be dry enough to make the call. Alright, on to the last foot. Let's check for pooling again. Sorry, I was concentrating pretty hard there. Okay, yeah, there's this area right here, maybe it's like a danger of being too pooled, but I gotta be careful dabbing it up so I don't make a drying line. If it looks too bad when it dries, I can cover it up with the highlighting stage. Okay, those feet are done. I'm just gonna take a quick breather, let my hand rest. And you're gonna use an artifact Bilerant to test the recipes for your clips. That's a good idea. Hello, Hugo. Welcome back. Yeah, the head does have some cleavage, Dolfo. And I'm gonna paint them with a sparkly shifter paint that'll bring a lot of attention to them, but hopefully they just look like massive gemstones, you know? As opposed to a pair of massive sweaty knockers, as they say. Okay, now the next chunk I'm doing is just the entire leg armor. Actually, I'll probably go all the way up the leg up into the joint, because where the joint where it attaches to the body can be a natural stopping point. So I'll probably start up here, actually. Yeah, it's these areas, which is where the wash comes in real clutch, because there's just so much detail for the wash to recess shade. And it's these kinds of areas where I'll know whether I thinned the wash too much and I need to put another coat on. It's gonna be a little tricky to get into the inside part, but I gotta do it. And this is where the kind of like weird looking color choices will get tied in together by this very strong wash. Help everything look a lot more cohesive. You don't always, or like, there's been times I've painted minis in the past where I've put on too much wash and the staining effect is like too strong. But for the kind of earthy tones that my Spires army is based around, it's I'm embracing the method of applying too much wash, sort of. Got to be a little cautious in the smoother areas here, because it's, you know, easy for the brush strokes to show up, as you can kind of see. Alright, let's go to the other hind leg. Hello Trini Outsider. This miniature is from the tabletop game Conquest by Parabellum Games. If you look at the description of the stream, there should be all the information you need. And yeah, thanks Dolfo for chiming in there. What are you talking about pro level weathering? I'm just slopping some brown sauce all over it. If I was like going a bit more try hard, or if I had the supplies, I could do a fancy oil wash on this, but it's doing the different. There's a lot of a lot more effort is involved in doing an oil wash, in my opinion. And also I don't have any, well, I have the mineral spirits, but I don't have any oil paints. And you know, I think the stuff you can do with oil paints and minis is pretty impressive and like revolutionary in a lot of ways, but it's not something I'm interested in diving into. Just would rather focus my energies elsewhere. And I'll just enjoy looking at other people's skillful applications of oil paints and oil washes. Okay, just gotta make sure. Okay, we pooled a little bit too much there. Hopefully I'm not moving the model so fast it's going out of focus. Oh, you were looking at Parabellum recently. Well, I do. In the description, I do have a discount code if you're going to buy something from their online store. Oh, I'm glad to be back streaming, Dolfo, and it's glad to have you back as well. So, hope to see you in the next one, and have a good night. Alright, now we gotta do one of these bigger legs. You could say this mini has legs for days. Also, I've been toying around with Blue Parappa on what name I should give this abomination creature. It's been a while since we talked about it. I can't remember what names we came up with last time, but if anyone has their own silly little name suggestion, feel free to chime in the chat. You know, at the end of the day, I'll have the final say of the name, obviously. It's gotta feel right. But you know, sometimes you guys can come up with some entertaining names. Juanito, this mini comes unassembled, like it's a fully posable mini, so you can see all the ball joints that the legs are in. There's also multiple choices for like claws, like this claw is like on the ground and this one is curled up, so you can build it in like a bunch of different poses. It only has one like head choice and like one arm choice. Like the only variant pieces are the feet and like the posability of the limbs. You know, compared to like some Games Workshop monster kits, this one has a lot more posability, even if the sculpt isn't as impressive. This is like from the first generation of Parabellum models, so their model designs come a long way since. Yeah, these panels are a bit bigger and flatter. It's gotta put a bit more, pay a bit more attention to making sure we don't get any pooling that's too bad or any super egregious brush strokes. Like here, you can see on the front. Some like uneven staining pattern is good and can add useful variety, but we don't want too much. Okay, I think we got that leg. Let's just give my wrist a bit of a break. Charles, Eater of Moss, that's a good one. Danielle. Yeah, there's a guy at the UK Games Expo. He had two of these abomination models, and one of them was in like a flying kick pose. So I named that one Jackie after Jackie Chan, which is pretty sweet. I can't remember the name of his other one. It might have been Martha. I can't. It was some sort of like nonchalant female name. It was not in a flying kick pose. But it was still in a decent pose from what I remember. His spires had a blue themed color scheme, and he was kind enough to let me join in on a multiplayer game and borrow some of them. Yeah, Charles isn't a bad name. I can see it as a Charles. I'll try and remember that one for later when I make the final call. Maybe I can be a bit more conservative in applying the wash on this greave, so it won't pool as much as on the last one. I say as I just slop a wash all over it. I always enjoy this stage of painting any mini pretty well, because it's just fun to, after you're like, you've meticulously painted and blocked out a bunch of details, and then you can just slop wet wash all over it. It's a nice change of pace. Yeah, bubbles forming when you apply it too is a bit of an issue. You might have noticed some of them there. Okay, I was a little bit more conservative on this leg. Alright, we got all the legs washed now. So far, so good. Yeah, for anyone who joined the stream a bit later, I did add some more music to the background playlist. You might have noticed. I'm assuming all of you noticed that the graphics on stream are different now. I gave that, there's a similar stream notification to the super chat if you don't want to use the YouTube super chat function and do a Ko-fi donation instead. But you know, as always, there's no pressure to do so. You're welcome to enjoy the stream with no monetary contribution, as always. Okay, now, okay, we're with the booty here. We're gonna do all the green as one big chunk, and then all the carapace, because we got the like natural border between the two that we can stop at. Because, you know, we're doing this in stages to avoid drying lines. And the process of applying wash to this model would be a lot more stressful if there weren't all these like natural borders between sections that provide easy spots to stop and start at. Also, all the Spires minis so far have been like very good minis for like taking washes well. And by that I mean like there's just a lot of like detail with recesses to be brought out by a wash. I don't like, a lot of the time I don't even apply washes to my gun plug because there's just a lot of like flat surfaces, or oftentimes adding a wash can be more of a detriment than anything. If you're familiar or like doing the slap chop painting process, the Spires minis are also very good for that. That's not how I'm painting them, but in an alternate universe I could definitely see myself developing a slap chop paint scheme for a Spires army. I mean, the slap chop paint scheme can work well with a lot of different minis. That's why it's such a popular technique. But I'd say my Spires army takes the slap chop, or would take the slap chop technique better than my 100 Kingdoms would. And yeah, hopefully with me rapidly moving the model around for this washing stage, the focus isn't going too crazy. Okay, I'll start with this front carapace section and then work my way back to the booty. And hopefully I have enough wash in the cup for that to happen. Yeah. Because we're gonna need to refill that soon. I could arguably be using a bigger brush for this stage, but this brush is just probably, like, of the brushes I have on hand with me nearby, this is like the designated wash application brush, just because it's like the most haggard, beat up brush. Because with this messy of a stage, you don't want to be using your like super nice crispy brush as you're jamming it all over the place and just soaking a bunch of pigments deep into the ferrule. Yeah, I'm worried about drying lines in these flatter sections here. Must be diligent. Yeah, if I have to stop in the middle of one of these big flat sections to mix more, or to get more wash into the dish, that could be an issue, so I'm probably just gonna take it like one row at a time. I think I got enough on there to do the next row. I gotta make sure I'm grabbing areas where it's starting to, or grabbing more wash from areas where it's starting to pool too much rather than filling up from the dish. Yeah, you can really, especially on this back part here, you can really see how much the tone has changed from this wash. Do a bit of these sections on the side here. Okay, brief pause to get some more wash ready. Gunpla is for panel lining, but there's definitely lots of minis that you can use the panel liner on pretty effectively, like Space Marines or Tau. Thinner's almost running out. This I have more of though. I think I might have thinned that just a little too much. All right, back to the booty. Now I don't have to be worried about running out before finishing this section, so I can be a bit sloppier. There's a bit more room for error. The one problem with thinning out the wash a bit to make it last is sometimes I thin or mix up too much, and then I have to awkwardly try and get it back into the bottle, because, you know, the whole point is to make the bottle last as much as possible, so I don't want any to go to waste. Yeah, the longer I go here, the more careful I need to be about those pools as they get closer to drying. There's a limited window of time I have to mop it back up. Okay, I think we're done with the... Okay, you can see there's a tiny bit of a pool here that... Yeah, trying to scrub it up there. There's a bit of a line there. Not a big deal, though. You can see a bit of an issue on the front here, too. Yeah, just look at the difference between the parts that have been washed and the parts that haven't. Yeah, for sure, Juanito. Like I was saying earlier, the spires take washes very well. Alright, well, I guess I will just do the torso. I think we'll do the torso, then we'll do the arms last. Torso, I'm gonna have to work pretty fast. I think it's just a wide area. I'm just gonna have to cover very quickly. And I know it's gonna suck up a lot of wash. It's the big monster of the army, I suppose. If anyone's gonna be hungry for the most wash, it would be this one. So I should move the dish of wash to the other side. That'd be easier to refill my brush. How about that? And like there isn't much point of recess shading these areas that are painted really dark already. I more just want them to get the stain of the wash color so it ties it in with the rest of the elements of the model better. I checked out the new Amazon Prime show, Gen V, the other day. Does anyone else watch that? I'm a fan of The Boys. So, you know, Gen V is a good thing to kind of scratch the itch of that show before, or while we're waiting for season 4. But, you know, there's only 4 episodes of Gen V, so I'm already like caught up to it and I want more. I'm too used to the binge model of streaming shows. Seems like more shows are doing the staggered release now, which I understand there are definitely advantages to that format as well. That's how I'm used to watching anime, as I watch them as the episodes come out, and you know, it's fun being caught up in that hype. It was pretty fun with Witch from Mercury, but then, you know, Witch from Mercury ended too soon. Yeah, lots of big flat panels on the back here. I need to be wary of pooling wash. Sorry, I'm not very talkative at the moment. This head, this head torso section is probably the most intense part for washing and making sure it doesn't pool. Well, I'll have a nice break after the wash is done to show some painted models off for you. Models that Patreon supporters have already seen. But now you get to see them. Alright, almost there. Yeah, these back plates on the shoulder, lots of pooling. I need to clean up on those. And you may have noticed, yes, there are mold lines and gaps that I did not clean up on this model because, I'll explain this more on that when the conquest video comes out, but my Spires army is very much like a fast paint, tabletop quality army. And so for me, that means maybe I don't want to put in all the very, very tedious effort for... Because with these Spires models, like cleaning up the gaps and mold lines on a lot of these Spires models, I could tell would be a bit more difficult than it would be on Gunpla. Because it's, a lot of organic shaping instead of mechanical shaping. And also it's like a big army with a bunch of miniatures. Like it's not like Gunpla where I am putting a lot of effort into like one big display piece. Or, like a couple big display pieces or diorama or something. When you gotta get an entire army done, you just don't have time for that. I mean, it's your hobby, your way though, so if you wanna spend the time and make every model in your every model in your army be very pristine, mad respect. It's not what I'm doing. Okay, just the arms to do now. Well, this is the most intense washing session I've had in a while. And also a lot of these older Spires minis, the mold line cleanup is a little rough. Like I've said a couple times earlier in this stream and in videos before, their model design has come a long way. Okay, time to do the arms. Arms, we got some handy built-in borders to do these in little stages. And for those of you here earlier, I mentioned, or I also kind of mentioned in the post I made today, that the stream schedule is going to be inconsistent and irregular for the first couple weeks back here, just because my schedule is pretty irregular, going out of town a little bit, and you know, got other commitments to take care of. But I will be streaming as often as I can because I got a lot of painting to do. There might be some situations, like tomorrow I've got a couple appointments and like things I gotta wait on, so I can't commit to like a specific stream time frame. But you know, if I have like a couple hour window where I can't get some streaming done, I might, you know, just start streaming casually and like spontaneously post about it, and then be like, I'm just gonna stream until, you know, the mechanic calls me and I need to go pick up the car, something like that. But, you know, I painted a lot of the Spires army off camera just because a lot of it was like a lot of the same infantry model, and it was pretty tedious, so I just wanted to like hunker down and get a bunch of that done off camera. But I saved like the good officer character models and this big abomination monster for the stream, so the next big chunks of painting I have are almost all designated streaming projects. And then after I'm done this chunk of Spires, I'm gonna move on or switch to 100 Kingdoms for a bit, and a lot of that will be done on stream as well. Yeah, glad you two appreciate the washing session. Yeah, when I said that, I was like, that sounds kind of weird. Like, that's a weird way of referring to a bath. It's like, you take baths, I have washing sessions. And I guess this is kind of like giving the abomination a dirty sponge bath. I'm just not using a sponge. I'm staining it like you'd stain a dick. Alright, this is gonna be a fun part to try and get the brush into. Yeah, if it weren't for the appointments and just random stuff I had to deal with tomorrow, I would probably have a live stream scheduled already for like 8 in the morning. But unfortunately, that cannot happen. It's very likely there will be another evening stream tomorrow. got a bit of a pool there. Didn't get enough into the recesses there. Yeah, this washing session's like, I think I'd probably do for like 20 minutes at this point, maybe more. Okay, just one arm left. It'd be nice if I could just be an absolute painting machine for the next 2 days. So when I go to Thursday game night, I can bring a whole bunch of painted spires. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna be fully painting the spires army for the video. I'm leaving 5 stands of infantry to be done after, because you know I gotta get the video out eventually. But it's gonna be like a 70-80% painted army. Alright, let's say 80%, I'll be generous. It kind of look, I don't want to like jump the gun here, but it kind of looks like on my mixing dish here that I have the exact right amount of wash left over, and none of it will go to waste, and I won't have to awkwardly mix anymore. But who knows, maybe those are my famous last words. Also, I haven't been paying attention much to the camera, so hopefully the focus hasn't been like jarringly jumping all over the place or anything. Are you saying now that I've pointed it out, I'm not gonna have enough Fatal Swordsman? I'm gonna stick to my guns in this one. I think I have enough. Yeah, there's a couple areas here where it's like pooled a bit too much, but it's definitely been too long since applying that. If I go and try and mop it up now, it'll leave an ugly drying line. Or an ugly pool line. I don't know what to call them. It's like the ring around the edge of the pool. Or if you break, like try and sponge it up, it leaves a line. It's nothing you can't fix after the fact. It's just a slight annoying thing to fix. And if I've got leftover wash, part of me would be tempted to maybe go over some of the feet areas a bit more. Like, I think I'll definitely, if there is leftovers, I'll definitely just find other places on the model to use it rather than put it back in the bottle. I don't think there'll be enough to justify awkwardly trying to get it back in the bottle. It'll just be like a couple or a few drops. Too much on this shoulder area. It's pooling pretty bad. Yeah, and the stuff left over in the dish is like the really pigmented leftovers. Yeah, I feel like this wash session lasted at least half an hour. Definitely need a bit of a stretch after this. Yeah, just look at the wonders that does to tie all those colors together. And if you didn't hear me explain earlier, these black bulbous parts here and the spheres on the legs, those are gonna get a shiny golden shifter paint, which is gonna impact the look a lot. Okay, let's put that down. I think we could say we're done washing now. I did it. Let's just check for pooling. This arm here. The feet. All right. Yeah, it's I mean, I think I wouldn't be surprised if there's a wash out there that's labeled as like a coffee wash. I think this brown has a bit more, some more greens in it, perhaps. Yeah, it kind of looks like I could have used a bit more wash there, but I think it's fine how it is. Okay, let's just leave that be for now. I think we just gotta leave it and let it dry now. And now, as promised, I'm gonna stand up. I'm gonna take a quick stretch for like 10-20 seconds, and then I'll show off some of the minis I've already painted. Oh, that was a rewarding washing session. I hope you all found it satisfying like I did. All right. Let's just put some stuff to the side here to make room. And this feels like a good spot to stop the painting part of the stream. But I'm gonna, keep streaming for the next little bit just to show off some models. But we are gonna make it past the 3-hour mark, and that's what I wanted to aim for. Oh damn, I hate it when that happens. Another name. So we've got 4 blocks of 4 bound clones. Those I'm not aiming to finish painting these for the video, and then we got a minimum size regiment of Strix. They're pretty cool minis. It's just like a bunch of rabid bird boys on some sticks. As you can see, it's a bit of a nightmare to rank these up, but it is possible. I think the Woodrew models in Conquest still have the worst time ranking up. So that's the stuff that's not going to get painted for the video, but there's a lot more that has been painted. This is a standard bear for the Vanguard clones. Yes, Fatal Swordsman, 12 birds to be exact. Maybe in the future I'll have more birds. Ooh, let's make sure we focus. It's a standard bear for the Vanguard clones. It's a regular Vanguard clone. These guys are probably Like, I speed painted these as fast as I could, because, you know, I was just trying to get, like, I have so many minis to paint. I just gotta get them done fast, and the Vanguard clones are probably the fastest. This is the leader. Gets a fancy hat and a fancy flag. And his sword has has a keychain accessory, that's how you know he's the leader. The command stand for the bound clones is painted for the video. So here's the 2 test ones I did for that. We got the standard bearer for the force-grown drones here. It's got a pretty grotesque, fleshy standard here that's got a bunch of skulls and like chicken bones hanging down and just a weird organ orifice at the top. And, you know, some orifices coming out of his back to spray the pheromones all over the place. That's what the spires do, apparently. I got another bin off to the side here. These brute drones, these were painted like about a year ago, so probably seen them already. But we got the full unit of painted marksman clones here. I'll show you the command models are the cool ones. This is another kind of creepy, fleshy standard bearer that's just got a bunch of stretched skin across it. It took me a while to decide what the like turquoise accent color would be, but I've gotten some good feedback on it, so the choice paid off. I need to click something there. Yeah, we got the finished unit of marksman clones there. And then we got a 24 force-grown drones. I'll show you. We've got the 2 kit bash leaders. In the stats of the game, the force-grown drone don't have the leader stat for the extra attack, but when you're playing them in First Blood, you still need a model to designate as the leader model. So I kit bashed these to have extra arms, because they do get the extra attack when you're playing them in First Blood. So we got some slightly fancier force-grown drones for that. And speaking of more creepy fleshy bits, we've got the catabolic node here. And yeah, it was fun painting these, just like experimenting with just gross green washes and just slathering them all over. I like how this guy's got a cape that, oh sorry, I like how this guy's got a cape that's just kind of like a rib cage with some cloth attached to it. And yeah, the box art for this, these tubes and stuff are painted more like pink-red color, but I kind of wanted to give like a weird slimy green flesh look. So I think I more or less got that. And let me just, it'll take me a second to grab the other ones we got that are kind of half done. Gotta put them on a tray real quick. This will take like 10 seconds. So for when you have a warlord that can't take any retinue, or you're not taking it with retinue in the game, mechanics wise, I've seen a lot of people make like single scenic bases like this because it looks a little awkward when it's just like the 4 slotted one with only 1 warlord on it. So this one will probably be the mimetic assassin in it most of the time. This mimetic assassin is essentially at the same stage the abomination is at, where it's just been washed but the next steps haven't been done yet. This base is done though. And we got the Ferromancer. You know, I slathered a bunch of gross green wash over this too, because you know, it seemed like the right thing to do. A cool dark wizard model. I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep these potions the same color. But so the Ferromancer and the mimetic assassin here, they're not gonna be streamed, or I'm recording the process for the video for these ones. And then same with this warlord, the High Clone Executor. It's also at the washed stage. And finished these today. These are the command models for the bound clones. So they're finished. They haven't been varnished yet though, so they're a little shiny and they still need the grass on the base. Thanks for the compliment, Hugo. I guess it's a compliment to the model sculptor. These will be done on stream. These are officers. We got the Assault Preceptor and the Ward Preceptor. So they'll probably be the next stream. Well, they'll be the next stream after the Abomination's done. Either them or these kit bashed. These were... I sacrificed 3 bound clones to make 3 retinue kit bashes. And obviously the forearms one is the coolest. These ones also function as variants for the High Clone Executor, depending on what mutations you take him with in your army list. Yeah, they are. They're bony. They got the cool like carapace look to them. It's a very unique look that I haven't really seen anything like it in any other fantasy setting, so I am into it. It's a really fun army to like just speed paint, because they take dry brushing and washes really well, so you can get a lot of them done really quick. So it's been a long time since I've just like painted this much infantry at once to like get an army close to being done. So don't get me wrong, I like painting the Gunpla, but this has just been such a change of pace. It's been a good break from Gunpla, but you know, before I'm even done painting my conquest armies, I'm gonna want to take a break from them eventually and go back to some Gunpla or something. And of course, painting my 100 Kingdoms army is a lot different than painting the spires. But yeah, I'm gonna start wrapping up the stream now, so if anyone has any last minute questions or super chats or Ko-fi donations or anything like that, now's your chance to get that in. No pressure though. Like I said earlier, probably will be another stream tomorrow and Wednesday. After that, there might be one early one on Thursday, we'll see. Tomorrow I'm kind of on call for some appointments and errands, so I won't be able to like announce and schedule the stream right away. I'll do my best to give you all as much notice as I can. And then on the weekend I'm going out of town for like 5-6 days. Then after that I'm hoping to make the stream schedule as consistent as I can be, because there's lots of painting to do. And yeah, I think that's all for now. Let's bring the Abomination back in frame. See how it's been drying. There's like a couple areas where the wash pooled and stained unevenly, but that's okay. The really egregious areas I should be able to tidy up. And obviously this look doesn't really get completed until you add matte varnish to it, because right now it looks kind of sticky and wet. And yeah, don't know what else there is to say really. Just do a quick mental check. Yeah, so thanks everyone for coming to the stream. It's been great coming back. Really appreciate everyone coming in, even though I'm not painting a Gunpla thing. Well, I appreciate any time you all engage with what I put out, no matter what the model is. And yeah, follow me on the social medias or check my community posts on YouTube if you're wondering when the next live stream's gonna be. And yeah, I think that's all there is to say for now, so have a good morning or night everybody, and thanks again for coming.